Friends, my name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators in the Spokane Sangha, and it is my pleasure and privilege to welcome you all to Recovery Dharma. I'd like to begin our practice today with a sentiment of metta. Metta is loving kindness. It's one of 4 limitless qualities that we can cultivate in a Buddhist practice. And remember, friends, you don't have to become a Buddhist to benefit from these practices. You don't have to abandon your own religious or spiritual practice. You can use Buddhist practices and principles to complement what you're already doing. I think it was His Holiness the Dalai Lama who said that if you're Christian, you can use Buddhist practices to be a better Christian. And I think that's beautiful. This is a little painting I made. And this one on the back reads, "May you trust your own mystery. May you trust your own mystery." Oh, arrive, friends, to this beautiful practice and this amazing community, and just take a moment and reflect on being here. All of the choices that you could have made, of all the things you could be doing today, you prioritize this hour of self-kindness. And in doing so, you've extended that kindness outward to all of us here in this community. I want to thank you for your generosity. In the Spokane Sangha, one of the things that we do that's quite unique is we take Buddhist practices and principles and we study them for a month. And if you'd like to see what we've been exploring this year, you can go to the Soul Center website, and there's a document under the Recovery Dharma header, and you can see all of the topics that we've been exploring together as a community for 2025. For the month of November, we are exploring the 4 practices of generosity. And for those of you who may not be familiar, they're also listed on that Recovery Dharma page, but I want to state very clearly what they are. And one of the endeavors that we are attempting here is to broaden our perspective of what it means to be generous. And I'd like to begin this reflection by stating, without any ambiguity, we are all, each of us, generous by nature. And maybe that can be a mantra we tuck in our pocket. I am generous by nature. My true nature is to be generous. Oh, that's something warming, I think. It is my nature to be generous. From the Buddhist perspective, the 4 practices of generosity are to give confidence, to give protection, to give happiness, and to give wisdom. Of course, there are many, many, many things that we can give, but these 4 categories create a foundation of an expanded, broad, generous spirit. Today, I'd like to tap into what it means to give confidence as an act of generosity. To give confidence is also an act of loving kindness, one of the four limitless qualities in Buddhism. In Buddhism, the word for faith actually means confidence. And given our sentiment today, which is to trust in your own mystery, there's also a mystery of life that is a faithful, merciful companion. Through the delighted gaze of life, its message is constant, which is you have never been, nor will you ever be a mistake. Its message, life's message to all of us is also, you are so well loved. Life's message in its full generosity, its incessant generosity is, you can trust life's unfolding, life's mystery. Your mystery and the mystery of life are one in the same. And finally, a message that I hear all the time and I share frequently because many of us have forgotten, or we've been so conditioned by the cacophony of modern noise that we no longer hear the rhythms and shy songs of life. So, one of those messages is also, you belong here because you are here. So, life isn't caught up in all of the petty things that we haunt ourselves with. It doesn't worry about regret or shame. It doesn't have judgment. Life's mystery is impeccably neutral. And when we show up to it and we dance with it, we learn how to become more neutral toward ourselves. To be human is to make mistakes. To mature as a human being is to learn and grow from them. To allow our mistakes to become the fertile soil of our own spiritual and physical growth. Breathe that in. It's kind of a lot. And maybe you can write them down as mantras, little reminders that you can tape up or tack up in places that you see all the time. I have messages like this taped to the mirrors on the refrigerator, in different coat pockets, and so on. Today, as we explore this mystery and as we learn to cultivate some trust and to really step into feeling confident and having faith in ourselves, I'd like to share with you something that popped into my mind today quite randomly, and it brought me so much delight. I was like, "Oh, yes. I can't wait to talk about this in terms of confidence and mystery." So, breathe with me for a moment, and then I'd like to plant an image in your mind's eye. Breathing in, breathing out. A number of years ago, I was taking a walk with Lo through Turnbull Wildlife Refuge, which is just outside of Spokane in Cheney, Washington. And it's this wonderful sanctuary, natural sanctuary of lakes and ponds and rivers. And there's walking trail, excuse me, trails. And one day we came across this aspen snag, and it was a tree that snapped off. The majority of it snapped off, and it was laying nearby, maybe from a windstorm or ice or something. And so what remained was about, I don't know, maybe 7 feet tall or so. And about 18 inches from the ground up on this snag, this core of this tree, which was only, it wasn't a big one. It wasn't a sapling, but it wasn't yet a full mature tree. So I don't know, maybe it was 12 inches in diameter total, maybe a little bit more. But in any case, about 8 inches from the ground up, a beaver had been gnawing. And it was gnawing it created in this snag a perfect hourglass shape. So from the point in the center of where the beaver had been gnawing all the way down was kind of this rounded edge. And then up above that narrowing point, up in the body of the snag, was a rounded edge. And then this little narrow, I don't know, it maybe was only about 4 inches around in the center, holding this tree upright, this snag upright. And littered all around the tree at the base were all the little chips that it had gnawed away. See if you can imagine what that looks like. The beaver has full trust in the mystery of life. It knows that life is going to continue to produce trees that it can, by its own nature, gnaw and chew on to create its own shelter. It has complete confidence in that. And if trees are scarce, it will move on. The beaver knows this, it honors its own nature. They are dependent upon one another, and life is abundant in its supply. And even as that tree broke off, it will decompose if the beaver doesn't use pieces of that for its shelter and den. And it will be the mother, the nurturance of the earth for more trees to grow. So nothing is ever wasted. Even the chips that the beaver have gnawed away go back into the earth as decomposition and nurturance. Everything is needed. Nothing is wasted. And what I marveled at and took photographs of was the balance of this beaver's efforts. Unlike a tree logger, a lumberjack, they chop at the tree in such a way that they create these wedges, and so the weight of the tree falls on itself. This beaver chewed around the entire diameter of the tree in perfect balance. So even though it was chewed away and very, very narrow, it didn't topple over yet. And I love this as a metaphor for generosity. Because one of the things that's so unique in the Buddhist practice that really challenges the Western mind, so steeped in a very different mythology that tends to be very black and white. The Buddhist practice says everything is necessary, nothing is wasted. And it's called equanimity. We take the good, we take the bad, we take the neutral, and all of it informs my life. In the Western mythologies, what we do is we really highlight, inflate the good, and we do everything we can to get rid of the bad. And it doesn't work because it is counter to the nature of life and the nature of reality. All around us, we see how light and dark, good and bad, black and white come into our consciousness. There's night and there's day. There's sunny days and there's rain, and both are necessary. We have terrible experiences as human beings that actually, with time, inform our greatest awakenings. So the Buddhists practice, these ancient awarenesses knew that long, long ago. And what the beaver teaches us on this full, pregnant beaver moon is that all of those chips, all the ways we chip away at ourselves, we gnaw at the goodness of ourselves, we gnaw at our regret, we chew away at ourselves in judgment and admonishment. We're constantly chopping away at all the ways we fail to measure up and aren't meeting the mark. And we try to get rid of that, failing to see how necessary it is for our wholeness, to recover our wholeness. This tree hung on because of the balance, the equanimity, the harmony that the beaver's artistry created in this snag. And the mystery of life is such that weather may eventually knock it down. Maybe another beaver will have a go. Maybe a giant moose will come along and bump its rump into it or something. Who knows? But eventually it'll knock over and eventually it will become purposeful, whether to the beaver or to the earth itself. Who knows? That's the mystery. And so all of our deeds are like that too. If we have eyes to see it this way, we can look at our missteps. We can look at our regret. And it's not about not feeling it. It's not about not acknowledging it. It's not about pretending it doesn't exist. It's about folding it into our lives and saying, what can I learn from this? How can this become something that will sustain my true nature, which is to be generous and open and kind and belonging and loving? Friends, on the brightness of this beaver moon, may its light guide you to the wholeness of you, to the sacredness of you, to the mystery of you. And may you see reflected in you the mystery of life itself. And when you go into your life, may you see in all of its small wonders reflections of your own mystery. This is what recovering really is. This is what it means to come home. Right, let's go into our dedication of merit. Friends, we are exploring for the entire month of November generosity, to give confidence, to give protection, to give happiness, to give wisdom. And in each of those categories, there are very specific things. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about what are the material things that come about when we are trying to give confidence, to express our faith in someone or in ourselves. There are some basic needs that people must have in order for them to even be in a position to receive. And I will add that I'm using these four practices and I'm coupling them with the four limitless qualities, the Brahma Viharas, and to give confidence, to encourage faith in oneself is an act of extraordinary loving kindness. And I'll say, to receive someone's faith, to receive someone's encouragement is also a loving and kind act of generosity. Why? Two things happen. One is we've given someone else an opportunity to be giving. And two, through our generous receiving, we cultivate the conditions for trust and mutuality, qualities that are essential for deep healing and the arising of our own Buddha nature. You don't have to go very far and you don't have to go very big to take stock of your generous nature. In fact, I would encourage you to go small and take stock of the most insignificant things you do. Make eye contact with a stranger. Smile at someone. Say hello with the sincerity of friendliness. These seem so insignificant, and yet in these dark, distorted times, they are missing. May you go into the rest of your day as a living, breathing instrument of peace, and may you allow the freedom for your nature, your generous nature, to shine brightly. May this inform you and bring you joy, and by extension, may you bring joy to others and bring healing to the whole of the world. Thank you for your beautiful practice here today, friends. We'll see you next time. Namaste.